our personality segment. Today, I have the privilege of interviewing someone who's a big sister. Her name is Akua Sarpong, and she is just a phenomenal woman in every sense of the word. And I'm sure by the time the conversation is over, you understand why. So I have the privilege of introducing my big sister to me, an entrepreneur and the executive secretary of an organization that she's been very passionate about for some years. And it's her work there that has even given me far more respect for her. So she's the executive secretary for Lifeline and childhood cancer. Sister Akua, good morning. I had to do that.
You had to. Good morning. Thank you. And you look beautiful as always.
So do you. So do you. So do you. How are you doing, sis?
I'm good.
In Corona times.
I know.
Interesting
times.
Yeah, very interesting times. But how has business been? How has life been? How are you coping?
It's been okay. I think we're floating. We all are, we're, as we say, we're managing.
Yes, we're managing. Favorite Ghanaian
I know. We're managing. But God has been good. God has been kind. He's been kind, so faithful. So
as always.
We did.
As always. But, so we're thinking of a personality to bring in this week. And September is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, is Dyslexia Awareness Month, and we do have conversations lined up before the month ends to get into the nitty-gritty of what those two things are, childhood cancer, and dyslexia. Now for me, coming from a teaching background and then being a mother, anybody who is involved in those two things has my respect. And so I thought before the month ends, let's get to a personality who is a 360, preferably a woman, but also somebody who has been advocating for something like childhood cancer awareness and dyslexia as well over the years. So that's, you're wondering, like, why is Akua bringing me here? But then also a lot of the time when we're celebrating people, we tend to focus on the people who are already in the limelight, who have been interviewed by everybody, but there are so many shining stars behind the scenes, in the clouds up there, and we just thought it would be befitting to bring you.
You're too kind. Thank you.
Viewers, that's why my big sister Akua Sarpong is here. But let's start from the very beginning. When Akua was born, because you won't remember the conception, right? But at least you have the stories. But growing up and your childhood, what was it like? Right.
I come from a big family.
Is that you?
Oh, that's me, oh Lord.
Baby.
I didn't look good as a baby, I think. I think I was a
beautiful baby.
I grew up in a very balanced home, a big family. I come from a house, 7 sisters. My father is chief of Akua. My father is he's a full human being. He's an interesting man to know. My mother is a beautiful soul. Beautiful. My mother is called Ellen. My mother is an apostolic, proper tongue praying apostolic. And my father is a Presbyterian and a traditionalist and a chief. So we grew up in a very interesting, with appreciation for tradition and culture. And
so we have your father on the screen.
Yes.
Please tell us his name. We all need to hear it.
My father is Nana Akua Sarpong.
Yes. Agogo Hene.
Yes.
So the Agogarians or Ago-Americans.
Thank you very much. Ago-Americans, we are. Yes.
Your princess is in the studio.
So very balanced home, very happy home, lots of love. My father raised us to be independent women. I mean, there's seven women, and we're 7 strong women. We're different. We're deeply loyal to each other. We love each other. Happy home. No issues. Went to St. Louis. Slops are high. Went to St. Louis. Went to Tech. And did my master's in the UK. I think so. I'm good. I'm good.
So let's talk about. I mean, you've run us through all the way to the university, but what was it like growing up with 6 sisters?
6 other sisters.
Yes. All girls.
All girls.
I mean, I have only sisters, and it was a beautiful experience. But women can be women.
We are women.
All the estrogen.
We are women.
What was it like?
It was just so much fun. I mean, I grew up with learning from so many different women, different characteristics, understanding different traits, and we still being one big happy family. But it's a Christian home. You know, we grew up with fear of the Lord, loving the Bible, doing Sunday school. Interesting. My mother is apostolic, but we all turn out to be Presbyterians.
Interesting.
Because my father is, and my grandmother, bless her, she was Presbyterian. So we all told the lions I'm a proper Basel.
Hey.
You know, take it very seriously. But good, happy home. We never lacked. Well, pretty okay family. Yeah, so we're good.
What was it like? So you have this, I mean, your father is a chief, he's a king, and that means he's a traditionalist to a large extent. What was it like as a young girl, and then later on as a young woman, just coming to terms with those, you know, the very Christian home that you were being raised in, but then also you had to toe the traditional line, I'm sure, because you cannot disgrace your father who's a chief.
Not at all.
You know, you can't bring disrepute to the home. So how did you manage to balance that, and what kind of lessons did you learn there?
I think, you know, because for me, I mean, I'm turning 40. My father has been a chief for 45 years, so I grew up with this.
You're turning what? Say that again.
Oh Lord, did I actually say that?
You're turning what?
46.
46.
46.
Wait, let's just take a moment and appreciate the
36.
beauty. Too
26.
Too late.
And my father's been chief for 45 years, so I grew up with knowing nothing else. And, you know, doing Sunday school, doing Presby, having morning devotions every morning. With my mom, not with my dad, and still understanding tradition and our roles and how important it is. We always spoke Twi at home. We didn't speak English. I speak very good Twi. I write Twi. I read Twi. We did agogo. We're very, very grounded, you know. We traveled to the village all the time, and I loved growing up there, going to my grandmother, going to the farm, going to carry on water in the morning, and so, but I was the chief's daughter, but my grandmother never treated us any different. So we're very, very grounded in all the areas. And I think that's what has made us have this full life that we have.
Okay, so Slopsa.
Hi.
What were your favorite subjects in school? What course did you study?
I did, do I even remember? I did arts.
Okay, so
I know I did arts.
Okay, so in arts.
Anna.
Well, but you didn't meet, I imagine, the senior high school system.
No.
So you did A levels.
I did A levels.
Okay,
so I did science from 1 to 5, and it was okay. It was nice. My father wanted me to be a doctor, bless him. And then when that didn't work out, he wanted me to be a lawyer. That also didn't work out. But I'm so sorry.
Are you really?
No. But I was very good at literature. So in sixth form, I did literature, economics, and geography. I loved literature. I loved reading. I studied economics as a new subject, which, you know, was good. Geography, I needed a third subject. So, but it was fine. So I did arts. And on hindsight, I think I should just have done arts.
Yeah, because everything about you screams art. I mean, even though you're a brilliant scientist as well, when we you know, talk a little bit more, people understand why I'm saying that. And then on to tech.
On to tech.
You know, the Kwame Nkrumah University of Technology.
Of science, we like to call it.
Of science.
Of science.
What did you study there?
I did economics and geography. I majored in economics and geography. So I did. I have a BA in social science, and I was in Queen's Hall. Tech was best time of my life. Amazing. I mean, you study hard, and then you party hard.
Yeah, so tell me about that. I mean, and a lot of people who went to tech, when you speak to them, they say that, like, you party hard
and you study hard. You have to,
you know,
because you'll be thrown out.
I mean, I went to report a number of times, so I know.
You see,
the Kumasi parties are like.
Of course, you need to lean towards Queens, but anyway, too late now. Sorry. But you had to. Yeah. I mean, we're very clear on why we were there. But we also knew it was a very key time of our lives, and you probably would never you wouldn't get that period back. So it was a time to try everything, you know, party, but you had to burn the midnight candle, you know, on both ends just to get your grades high. And I didn't get second upper.
Well,
Thank you very much.
Wow. And a well-rounded one. But what were some of your most memorable moments in the university?
Too many. Too many. I mean, I think I loved the course. There's so many different people that you met, and so many friends who have become lifetime sisters and brothers, you know, that you meet along in work, and it really, really shaped me. It gives you a different perspective of life. You know, you don't take things too seriously, and you learn to live. Just live, you know, but do the needful, do what needs to get you your grades. And yeah, and I had some amazing friends, and yeah, Jenny. Yeah, Jenny. Oh yeah, Jenny.
So let's move on from tech. After school, what came next? Did you continue to do your master's immediately, or things happened in between?
In between, I worked with Ruben and Tekpe, Financial Reports Online. So it was a small company that collated all, you know, financial data from all companies. So that was the time when the internet season. So it became like a central company that you could find any data you needed on Ghanaian companies.
What year was this?
This was 1999.
Okay, so this is when the internet is just beginning to become a thing in Ghana.
And it was a big deal, yes.
Yeah.
So we found a niche of collating all the information or data on the financial markets, on companies, small, big, listed. So would become like the go-to company to buy information on Ghana. And it was nice. I worked with some really, and you know, it was a national service period, but they took me on, and you are international service personnel. I think I was a research assistant. That was a big deal.
You're a big deal.
Yes, research assistant, they called me. Yes, and I took it very seriously, and you know, learned so much. You know, under Ruben and Tekpe, learned so much because you're working. You know, you earn a salary on top of it, so it opened my eyes to business and to understanding doing business in Ghana.
Okay.
So, in fact, following that, I went to do my master's, and I did my master's in corporate finance.
Okay, so
based on that, so I just transitioned into it. So I did my master's in the University of Leicester, UK. Did corporate finance for a year and a half after doing my thesis, and then just came back down. Okay. I knew I was never going to live in Arbitrary. It was never mine.
Well, it wasn't your plan.
No.
I understand.
At all. I can't relate. So came back, and I worked with, what was my first job? Oh, I worked with Arivia.
Okay.
Arivia.com. It was a South African company, Paracetal, which had been privatized. So they had a solution in. So Arivia had, in fact, combined three paracetals.
Okay.
And so it was owned by Eskom, it was owned by Datavia and Denel or something. Okay. So we had
proper merger.
It was a proper merger. So they had solution in people management, in election solution, and data connectivity, creating VPNs at the time, and it was a big thing at the time. And so I was the West Africa, I think. I worked within the West Africa space looking for business, but they did more business with government. It was more government-focused solutions as opposed to,
So, I mean, listening to you speak, there's a very clear-cut path for you in finance and internet solutions. Yes. How did we end up in childhood cancer awareness? And dyslexia.
So, childhood cancer awareness. Okay, so in 2016, so I had 3 children. I had a boy and I had a set of twins. And I have a boy and I had a set of twins. And in 2016, so one of the twins, the older one, just little things, you know, she wasn't eating right, she was a little slower, you know, they would always say, you know, she's a slower one, she's a quieter one. And and there was nothing really off. And every time I went to the hospital, they would say, oh, it's because she's teething, because she was a year and 3 months. It's because she's teething. So, oh, don't worry, it's the regular teething issues. So they would give me this, they would give me Abidec, they would give me food supplements, and it really wasn't working. And I'm a very finicky mom. You know, your fingernail aches, we're going to the doctor. You know, we're not waiting, because I'm not a doctor.
Right.
We're not waiting. So kind of escalated it, spoke to a pediatrician, and then I remember we noticed the stomach was a little tense. It was just a little harder than it should be. And so I spoke to a pediatrician and said, oh, it's probably gas. It will pass. And then they said it was something else. It was gas. But we're very dismissive of my concerns. And so I spoke to another pediatrician. No, I'm not ending there. I kept speaking to a pediatrician until I got proper answers to it. And then this pediatrician said, you know, conduct a scan. Just go do a scan and let's take it from there. So I did a scan, and then the radiographer said, oh, it's a mass. You know, sometimes masses grow in children. But there's a solution to it. And then went back to my pediatrician, looked at the results, and at the time, so I read the results. Of course, I didn't understand what I was reading, but I remember I saw something like neuroblastoma in it. So I went back to the pediatrician.
And of course, you have the science mind. So
I guess. But you don't understand the big words. Do you ever understand what your doctor ever writes? Exactly. So I went back to a pediatrician, and then she said, oh, no, your child has cancer. I remember so well. I was just in 37. And she had come with a little girl. So I said, oh, hurry up, go to Kolebu. Oh, your child has cancer. So
just like that.
I kid you not. Oh, so go. Oh, I'm giving you a number. Go to see Professor Rena. She's in Kolebu. But go. So go and pack your stuff. And they said, oh, the child's father, do you have? So I said, yeah. He said, oh, this one, the treatment, there has to be in South Africa or has to be in India. So, and it was a most confusing conversation I've ever had. So you're dealing with a sick child, and then it gets thrown at you. I've never come close to anybody with cancer, and thank God has been so good to us. And my family, nobody's ever died of cancer, nobody's ever been affected. So it was a big. I was crying. My daughter was looking at me. She was like,
"What's wrong?
What's wrong?" So we left. So it was a Monday, if I remember. So on Tuesday, I think Wednesday, then we went to Kolebu, and then I met Professor Rena. Phenomenal woman, amazing, and sits you down and explains everything to you. So we did a lot of tests. And I can tell you, Kolebu is so thorough. Yeah. So thorough. I mean, you will do every test because we need to check everything. So in the first few, it's a little frustrating because you're dealing with cancer, you don't even understand what it is, and you do this test, I come back, do this, I go, okay, let's do. So after about a week, then we found out that she had what we call a rhabdomyosarcoma. So it's cancer of the soft tissue. So it's this mass that grows and shares. And you can have rhabdo anywhere in your body. You can have it in your cheek, but it's just cancer of the soft tissue. So anywhere there's soft tissue, here there's soft tissue in this. But she had it. She had this growth, and so we started chemo immediately. And so we're in Kolebu for about 3 weeks. We started the first cycle, second cycle, and it was the most traumatic period of my life, and mind you, it affects the whole family. Because there are other kids, there's my mother, there's my sisters, and it's huge. So we went through that, and then after the first set of treatments, it almost felt like we had angered the tumor. So when we went, it was probably maybe this big. After the 3rd week, we were maybe this big. And mind you, she's a year and 4 months by this time. And with rhabdos, it eats your body, you know, it literally eats you up. So it's growing and everything else is shrinking. It's awful for a child, it's awful, 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 awful. Anyway, so after the first set of treatment, then we thought, I didn't know anything. So we packed up, went to South Africa, went to Joburg General Hospital. It's a big teaching hospital, sort of like Hollywood. Best doctors as well. So we met all these amazing, you know, so we had our doctor, Professor Paul. She's just retired, wonderful, wonderful woman. And great place. So took us in. So it was so bad that as soon as we landed, we went straight into the hospital.
Yeah.
And so we started treatment. So we're there for 4 months. We did about 12 weeks of chemotherapy just to make it grow. Because it was such a big tumor. The surgeon said, you know, you can't cut it open because you really don't know what to expect.
Yeah, exactly.
And you don't know where it's growing from. You don't know if it's holding on to any organs. Are we sacrificing organs? So they take you through and they're very, very meticulous. You know, they prepare you. So we did 12 weeks of chemotherapy and then we did the surgery, which went great. I mean, it was perfect. They did the margins. So they take out the tumor, take this off, and then they kind of have to test the margin to see if there are any cancer cells. And it was fine. There were no cancer cells. I was so happy. So we didn't have to do radiation treatment. And then we left, I think, June 1. And then we came back at the end of September or early October. Came back, continued the treatment in Kolibu, finished it. This is the end of 2016. So we started maintenance. So after the treatment, you know, we do maintenance. So we did about 6 months of maintenance, and everything was just, you know, you breathe. She was fine, she was looking good, hair had grown, we're back at school. Why am I so emotional?
No, but you have every right to be. You have every right to be.
We're back at school, life was good. So good. And then, so we did our reviews, we didn't miss anything, we didn't miss any treatment, everything was fine. So by this time it's June or July. So we did another review. And so when we're in SA, they do the treatment through what we call a port.
Okay.
So they insert this port because, you know, the chemo burns the veins.
Right.
So with kids, it's really difficult. They can't find the veins, and chemotherapy is done intravenously. So if the veins are not there, it's a problem. Sometimes they do the veins on the scalp. Extreme cases, they'll do it on the big toe. And it's really harsh, really, really harsh. So we have done our reviews, and so of course we're in communication with doctors in South Africa, and they said, oh, everything's fine, you finish your maintenance. So now it's time to take out the port, which is a huge event, because once you take out the port, it means you're done with treatment. So I almost skipped the next review because I said, you know, we're done, we're going to take out the port. But my pediatrician on the other side, I mean, she's a mean woman.
She's a sister that you have
you know, she's a doctor that you need. She will get on your case. So there was no way I was going to go without having done the review for her to look at it, you know. So we did a review in Kolibu, and this was in August, and the Dr. Rao, bless her, so she's kind of, and you know, I almost formed the habit of all the time just checking. It was just a bad habit. Maybe it was a good habit. But I remember the day before the review, she was a little slow, but of course she's, you know, we all knew she was the sick one. So if she's slow, she's forgiven. And then I felt a little tightness again. So I thought, no, it can't be. We're going for the review tomorrow anyway. And I remembered that Professor Paul had said sometimes after the surgery, and let me tell you about the surgery. You know, when they took the tumor out, let me explain this. She's 1 year and maybe 7 months at the time. She weighed 10 kilos at the time. The tumor, when it was taken out, weighed 1.8 kilos. Wow. My older son, when he was born, was 2 kilos. So that's like a full human being. That's how cancer is. It's awful. It's horrible. So, I remember my oncologist saying sometimes after the surgery, there's a hernia. You know, it splits, and sometimes the guts can come out. So I said, it's probably the hernia, so I'm not worried. So I went back. Professor I was doing the test, and she's looking at me, and she's shaking her head. I said no, and she's doing this, and I'm saying no. And then we were both crying because she had come back again because she was a star child, you know. Done all the treatment, everybody was so happy, you know. Every time we went for treatment, for really, they would say, this is a child, they would tell the other parent, there's a child that if you finish your treatment, you'd be like, I mean, it was really happy times over there. Anyway, so we came back again, and of course we started treatment again. And for me, my faith never shakes. So, we've done it, God, we've done it again. You know, you did the first time, you will do it again. We've been through it. We'll take it with all our strength. And so we went back to SA, and by this time it had affected her lungs. And by the time, you know, it's affected, that's secondary, you know, so by this time we're in stage 4. And when it affects the lungs, it's little dots. So you can't even do it. You know, if it's a tumor, you can take it out.
It's spread out too far away.
But if it's spread out, you can't deal with it. So it was a very difficult conversation. We can do the treatment, but we can tell you she won't survive. So you decide, you know, what you want to do with this. We give you all the options. And so, of course, I remember calling Professor Reina and asking her, what do I do? And then she says, she always calls me Mami Akua. Mami Akua, whose interest are you looking for? Is it the child's interest or your selfishness? So if she can't take the treatment, don't force it. But you have a chance to spend, you know, time with her. Okay. So by this time, it's about November 2017. So we came back, we couldn't do the treatment. There's nothing that can be done. So you ask how long? Well, we don't know. It could be 3 months, it could be 6, it could be a year. We don't know. But just do the best as you can. So we came back and we just chilled out. We had a good Christmas, and she passed away April 28th.
So sorry.
20th.
So sorry.
Yeah. So coming back to the question.
So that's why you're so passionate about child
That's why
cancer.
I breathe.
Sister Kira, our time is far gone, but we have to end this. But thank you for your strength. I thank God for your strength. And thank you for all that you do, because to go through something so traumatic, lose a child, and then come back and advocate against or to create awareness about the very thing that took your loved one away, that is true strength.
Thank you.
That is true strength. And we have a flyer on the screen.
Yes.
I did tell you that Seiki as the Executive Secretary for the Lifeline Childhood Cancer, right, for everything, for a lot of things, actually. And we'll bring you back to talk about business and other things. But thank you so much. And there's a lot happening. And next week, maybe during our health segment, we'll talk a little more about childhood cancer and awareness and what's going on in Ghana. And, you know, thank you so much.
Sure. Do I have 2 minutes?
Yes,
1 minute.
Please.
So
1 minute.
September is Childhood Cancer Month. So there's the month that we scream at the top of our lungs, you know, childhood cancer does exist. Children, yes, do get cancers. A little bit of statistics. We get about 1,500 children getting affected with cancer. We only have 2 centers, Accra and Kolibu. In Ghana, the success rate, is 20%. 20%. Everywhere else, about 80%. So, you know, 1,000 children, how many will die? 800.
800.
And 20 will live. But the good news is, with the 20%, we have close to 90% success rate. Because childhood cancer is indeed curable if found early. Problem is, there isn't any specific symptoms to show, you know, when your child gets cancer.
Parents need to be on their guard.
Yes. So it's little things, there's a swelling, any part of their body, it's off, we don't walk around with swellings. There's a little redness or whiteness in the eye. It's a problem. Escalated. Your child has malaria, or what we call malaria fever, that we keep treating the same for 3 months. It's a problem. It's a sign. It's a trigger. Child has brittle bones. They walk, they fall. It's a problem. A child suddenly goes blind. It's not normal.
We'll talk. We have the number on the screen as well. The Momo number, because I know that childhood cancer, our NHIS doesn't cover childhood cancer. It covers breast cancer, prostate cancer, but not
cervical.
Cervical as well, but not childhood cancer. So there are families that are suffering, and like I said, we need to talk more about this next week before September ends.
We should.
But parents, pay attention. Pay attention. So number is on the screen.
So if you find something that is off, an anomaly, escalated.
Will you give us a number?
Yes. So the Momo number is 0555-751377. 0555-751377. And it's a lifeline for childhood cancer. Please support it. It could be your child, it could be my child. Someone's got to speak of these children. We're losing too many children. It's wrong. So support it. Support it. Seriously, support us. Let's raise money. Yeah, children have they have 60 years to live, So help us.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for joining us this morning. Thank you. And
thank you.
Bless you.
Amen. And you too. And thank you for the opportunity to talk about childhood cancer and people getting to know about childhood cancer. It's important.
Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, you've been watching the personality segment here on Breakfast Daily. I've been speaking with Akua Sarpong. She's the Executive Secretary for Lifeline Childhood Cancer. And it's been a mind-blowing conversation. And we'll bring her back at some point before the month ends. We'll see what we can do to escalate the awareness for childhood cancer.
Hi there. We hope you enjoyed the show.
Make sure to subscribe, like, comment, and share with your friends.
This is Breakfast Daily on Citi TV.
Join the Breakfast Daily team Monday through Fridays from 7:30 a.m. to 10. Join us for breakfast daily, only on Citi TV.